podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks on Saturday, November 16th, 2019. Yes, I'm back. An all-new show. This is episode 1644. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Brave. Brave is the browser reimagined. Switch now to get unmatched speed and privacy and stop trackers from following you. Save battery life and earn rewards by opting into privacy-respecting ads. Brave is free and easy to switch to. I switched a long time ago. You should switch today at brave.com/twit. And by CashFly. Give your users the seamless online experience they want. Power your site or app with CashFly CDN and be 30% faster than the competition. Learn more at twit.cashfly.com. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smartwatches, all that jazz. Thanks so much to Rich DeMuro from KTLA in Los Angeles. Good looking, tall, smart. I hate him. But thank you, Rich, for filling in for me. And Rich left me an autographed copy of his book, 101 iPhone Tips and Tricks. So thank you for that, Rich. I appreciate that. I'm going to look for cash in some of the drawers here to see if they left you some of that. 8888 Ask Leo. That's my phone number. You want to talk high tech? I'd love to talk about it with you. Back from vacation. That means I'm tanned, rested, and ready to answer questions. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Outside that area, as I've mentioned before, you can use Skype to reach me. It's easy. Just Skype out to a phone number. And it's a toll-free number, so it shouldn't cost you anything. Even if you're calling from Dubai. That's where I was earlier this week. Then before that, Jordan and Oman and Egypt and Israel and Greece. Oh, man. Traveled the world. You know what? You see iPhones everywhere. In fact, technology, it started with television, American television. I was talking to one of my guides in Dubai. I like to get a local guide, take me around, show me the stuff. And she said her accent was flawless. And I said, wow, you must have studied in the U.S. She said, no, American TV. I thought she sounded a little like Mannix, I have to admit. But no, American TV. That's what she said. That's how I learned. And she wasn't the first to say that. I actually had a guide in Japan once who said, I learned how to speak English from the Carpenters, singing Carpenters songs. So whatever it takes. I guess he was an older gentleman. Maybe that was from the radio era. She was from the TV era. Then there was the internet. Of course, you don't learn how to speak from that. You learn how to read, though, English and write English. And I can tell you, one of the things that's really changed about travel now, when you travel around the world, English is the lingua franca. It's the language kind of everybody speaks. And of course, that's good because as an American, I speak no other tongue. This is it. It's American or nothing. And fortunately, they all speak American, so I felt right at home. Thank you. But I think, the next thing, technology, right? Not just internet, but things like speech assistants. Everything that we use, it's of course the internet is not English only, and you know that. It's occasionally stumble on a site in a different language. It's like, what? Google even translates it for you. By the way, that Google Translate, that's a heck of a thing. As you're traveling around, if you don't mind being a little dorky, you can just press the button on your phone and say, shove it in their face. Say, speak into that. And they speak, and then it translates it in English and tells me, and then I say, well, thank you very much, which way to the men's room, and then it speaks it and translates that into Arabic, and it's incredible. And it seems to work. Makes people giggle. I didn't have to use it that much, as I said, because a lot of people seem to speak English pretty well. But anyway, that was it's interesting to see how much technology has homogenized the world. iPhones everywhere. In Dubai, they have the biggest Apple store I've ever seen. Of course, while I was gone, Apple announced they announced a lot of stuff. They got busy, but they started with the AirPod Pro. And in the Dubai Mall, because everything in Dubai is big, in the Dubai Mall, in the Apple Store in the Dubai Mall, they have, I don't know, I'm gathering that there was an ad for the AirPod Pro where there's a woman dancing, wearing them. I'm gathering that's because they had a giant statue. I mean, a 30-foot tall statue in the middle of the store of a woman dancing wearing AirPods Pro. I thought, wow, that's quite a promotion. That's quite a promote. What do they do with that after it's done? They put it in a warehouse? Is there a sculpture museum or a cemetery where you put that old stuff? I was very, and I took some pictures with the iPhone 11 Pro Max. So I was lucky. I had that while I was on my trip, and some of my best pictures, frankly, were not from the fancy, expensive camera I brought with me, but with the iPhone Pro, the 11 Pro Max. Great pictures, amazing pictures. I'd show them to you, but we're on the radio. That thing does a great job. And of course, because it's got a very distinctive camera configuration on the back, people would say, oh, is that the iPhone 11? I said, yes. I'd show them the picture. They said, oh, I'm on my way to the Dubai Mall. I said, well, say hi to the giant lady with the headphones. Google came out with its Pixel 4 while I was gone. Actually, just before I left, and then they shipped it while I was gone. So I didn't have a chance to bring that along with me. I wish I had. I have it now, and I've been playing with it, and I'm very impressed. I know I saw a lot of negative reviews. So I've also seen a backlash to that. I've seen a couple of people say, I don't want to read any more tech reviews. Nothing's good enough for these guys. It's true, isn't it? But that is kind of the job of a reviewer, to point out the negatives. But I have to say, a lot of the things they didn't like about the Pixel 4, the face recognition is super fast, works great, even a little bit better than the iPhone, perhaps. Camera's amazing, although, again, I didn't have it for my trip. I would have liked to. I could have done a head-to-head comparison of that in the iPhone. But it's just excellent. I'm very happy with it. I've only had a few days. I got back on Thursday, so I've had it since then to play with. Apple, while I was gone, did the thing I was hoping they wouldn't do. I was hoping and I was not hoping. They announced a new MacBook Pro. I was hoping because I really wanted a MacBook Pro with a good keyboard, because the last few generations have been unusable, in my opinion. I get some personal choice, but a lot of people agree with me. They've had some reliability issues. I hated it. I have a MacBook Air with that new butterfly keyboard. I feel like I'm stubbing my fingers. The keys don't move very far, right? And they have a kind of hard end when you hit them. And I just feel like it's just painful. It's psychological, obviously. It's perfectly usable. But for me, and a lot of other people. So Apple, I guess, listened, and they did a few things on this new MacBook Pro. They put a physical escape key, which for people who are programmers and use programming editors or other things, escape is really important. It was on the touch bar. It was a virtual escape key, and that was no good. So now they have a physical escape key. Touch bar is a little smaller as a result. That's fine with me. I don't care. Looks like a nice machine. I thought they were going to... When I left 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, when I left, everybody, the consensus was, Ming-Chi Kuo, that's the guy everybody quotes. Ming-Chi Kuo, he's the analyst who's in China, so he has some kind of finger on the pulse of what Apple's manufacturing at any given moment. He said, no, it's not going to come out till next year. So I said, fine, okay, I got it. I need a new computer. I bought a different computer. And then, of course, as soon as that computer came, Apple announces new 16-inch MacBook Pro. Nice, fast processors, a better cooling system, so it doesn't have the heat throttling slowdown stuff that the previous edition had. And the keyboard, well, iFixit, who specializes in this, they got it and they tore it down and they took it apart and they said, you know what? This is the keyboard. This is basically the 2015 keyboard. The last good Apple keyboard. This is it. It's the same. Hallelujah. So $3,699 later, don't tell my wife. I'll have that for next week's show. Hasn't come yet. But I think Apple, it's really interesting to see Apple make a phone that's a little heavier, a little thicker with more battery, to make a laptop that's a little heavier, a little thicker with more battery. This is kind of Apple starting to listen. Maybe they're just maybe they've been a little chastened by people who've said, Apple, you're not making the right product. I don't know if sales have gone down or not. I think the iPhone still sells better than anything else, but there's something happened. And Apple says, all right. Okay. Let's take a break. I want to talk to you. How's everything going? You tell me. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number. We have a website that goes with the show. It's free. It's always there 24/7. All the answers, all the questions, even audio and video from the show are there. TechGuyLabs.com, and that's free. There's no sign up, so make a note of that so you don't have to make a note of anything else for the rest of the day. 8888 Ask Leo. We'll go to the phones in just a second. Gotta say hi to the unbreakable Kimmy Schaffer, too. She's here. Oh, my. I missed you, Kimmy. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the unbreakable Kimmy Schaffer. Hello, Kim. Our phone angel.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Back again.
Thank you. I was hoping to get some gossip about Rich DeMuro, but apparently he's a nice guy.
I think he's kind of squeaky clean.
Oh, man.
I tried to corrupt him. I took him out for beers afterwards.
You've never taken me out for a beer.
You wouldn't go out with me for a beer.
No. It's against the code.
It's against the code.
So, hello. Did you miss me at all? No.
Of course.
Sounds like not at all. No, that's all right.
You've got very big shoes to fill, and he does a good job.
No, Rich is great.
Rich
is great. And we're very grateful because it means I can go on vacation once in a while because we have somebody wonderful to fill in. So, is anybody left calling? And
oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. I even told a bunch of people last week to call back when you were here. So I'm wondering if I'll get any of those calls.
Okay.
But let's try Elizabeth in Palm Desert, line 2.
Let's try it. Thank you, Kim. Hello, Kim. It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah. Hello, Elizabeth in the Palm Desert. How are you?
I've been laughing the whole time you two talking. It's me calling you from the dark ages again, and I got the password Ratatouille, so I'm able to be here with you today.
If you can remember how to spell it.
I studied French.
Ratatouille or something like that.
Touille.
Touille. I knew there was an ILLE in there.
Attaboy.
That's the E. So what can I? That's how the French spell ye. What can I do for you?
I'm in a jam still with not having a decent computer, and I'm in a real jam because the insurance company is not going to renew my homeowner's policy.
What?
If I don't get a roof on my house, so I've got to get busy and sell some stuff and get a big chunk of money. And
what happened to your roof?
Well, I was a new homeowner, and I didn't know about swamp coolers and the water supply.
Oh, lordy.
And rotted my roof, and it's like a springboard sponge, and I had tarps on it, and they came out. I don't know if they did drone pictures, flyby or whatever, but anyway.
Yikes.
So I'm like jammed up between now and March. I have to raise the money for a roof. So I need to get a computer.
Sorry.
I have a beautiful, I don't know what this is, 17, 19 something inch Sony monitor that I love and, could hang on to, and a great Microsoft keyboard. And so I bought
what I'm going to recommend for you, you may not like this.
Okay.
But it's less, you said you want to save money. Obviously, you need money for your spongy roof.
Right.
I'm thinking you want a desktop or a laptop? I should ask that.
Desktop.
Okay. I think you want what they call a Chrome box. Not expensive. Lenovo sells them. A lot of companies sell them. They're small little boxes. They're not too big. They look maybe not like even a shoebox. They're more like a couple of CD cases stacked. They're that small.
Before we go too far,
yeah.
I bought a new printer only to bring home and try to connect to my it's HP OfficeJet Pro 8715, and it's either wireless or Ethernet. My computer's so old I have no Ethernet port.
Do you have internet in the house?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I did it just my browser.
But you don't have Wi-Fi, is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah. So most printers nowadays need Wi-Fi. You remember the old days where you'd have a printer cable. Yeah, no one has printer cables. Go to this. You want to have some fun? Go to the Best Buy and ask one of those 22-year-olds, "Hey, I need a printer cable." I'll go, "What? What's that?" Yeah, everything uses Wi-Fi. But you don't need and don't want Wi-Fi. Is that right?
Well, it's a matter of expense, I think. I don't know enough to, know the questions.
Well, who do you get your internet from?
Through Frontier with my phone line, and I hate them.
Yeah. I've never heard anybody say I love Frontier. I've never heard that.
No.
Not once. Okay, so did they offer you a Wi-Fi router when they said, okay, we're going to take over from Spectrum here?
No.
No. Because normally in most ISPs these days, everybody wants Wi-Fi. That's just it's wireless internet. You don't need an Ethernet cable, and that's nice because you don't have to be next to the cable or in your case, the phone line to get the internet. It can be anywhere in your house. But since you're going to go with a desktop, and I presume the desktop is next to the Frontier connection, right?
Yeah, I have like a phone extension cord in effect from the jack in the kitchen through the mother-in-law's.
Oh, this is why you want Wi-Fi. That's crazy. You got a wire?
I know, but
do you ever trip on it?
I just assumed since it was more advanced technology that it's probably more expensive.
No. Well, I would first of all call Frontier, and they have Wi-Fi that they could put on that thing. Okay. And that would be the easiest for you. It is a little... You pay monthly for it, so you have to ask them what the monthly fee is for the Wi-Fi thing.
Okay.
That's probably like $5 a month.
Okay.
If you really, over the long haul, it would be cheaper to do it yourself, but it's a lot more complicated. The Frontier guy will just come out, or they'll just send you a thing and you plug it in, and now suddenly you have Wi-Fi. The reason I say that is because then first of all, you don't have to have an extension cord going through the in-law unit. That's nice by itself.
I called to give you laughs.
You cheer me up. I always love talking to you, Elizabeth. So that's one. Two, then your printer will work because it's Wi-Fi, and you can put the printer wherever convenient.
Right.
And then three, you're going to now get this computer, which is a Chromebox, which you could be connected physically to that long cord going through the in-law unit, or you could do it via Wi-Fi. The advantage of that is it's not Windows, it's not Mac. It's much more secure. It will work with your printer. It does something called Cloud Print. It comes from Google. It's a Google operating system. It does Cloud Print. And I bet you most of what you do can be done in a browser. Email, surfing, buying. So a Chromebox, a few $100, much more secure, much easier to use, much safer. And then I think your whole life is simpler. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I'm not hearing a thing. Oh, there it is. There's the sound. Coming up, by the way, Scott Wilkinson, our home theater guru. Elizabeth, don't go. Oh, she hung up. I was going to help her. We'll be back. He's the bump de bump, the hump de hump, the king of geeks having to do with home theater. He is Scott Wilkinson, contributor at Tech Hive. Hello, Scotty.
Hey, Leo, welcome back.
You were asking me, I went to Petra, which is
one of my bucket list places.
Yeah, in Jordan. It's I think a 2,000, 1,500-year-old city carved into the limestone, into the rock.
Yeah, carved into a cliff.
Yeah, and it's gorgeous.
Oh, man.
Spoiler alert, it's amazing. Indiana Jones actually was shot in Petra, in front of what they call the most famous building, which is the Treasury. It's just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. Anyway,
really amazing.
Yeah,
really amazing.
Had a wonderful, wonderful time.
Glad to hear it. And glad you're back.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm back. What's been going on in the world of home theater?
Well, you know what? I've been thinking a lot about content creators' intent versus consumer choice. Now, a couple of things have happened in the news that led me to be thinking about this. One is Netflix apparently is doing a trial run of a feature that on mobile devices, you could play back movies at twice their normal speed.
People do that with our show. We do it with our podcasts.
Well, people do that with podcasts all the time. That's true.
And if it's just voice, you speed it up. you get to hear it in half the time. Lisa, my wife, listens to books at about 1.25 or 1.5. She says I get more reading done that way. And her brain is fast enough she can keep up.
Right.
But but video...
The question is movies.
Yeah.
Watching a movie. Now, as you can imagine, all the directors are way up in arms about this. They do not want people to mess with their creative intent.
Well, I understand that, but that happens all the time. You're watching a movie on an airplane, it says content adjusted to fit this screen. It's just the way life is.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're a creator, you can encourage people to watch it as you intended.
But you can't ultimately.
You don't get to
You can't control it.
They get to see it the way they want it.
Like
now, why they would
at one point you have to let it go.
Why you would speed pictures up is everything's moving very fast.
Yeah, right.
The reason, by the way, this occurs is because nowadays with digital technology, you can speed a voice up even as fast as twice as much without making it sound like a chipmunk.
Right, without it changing its pitch.
They pitch shift it back down.
Yep.
And so it just means that they're talking faster. Sometimes there's little glitches in there, but otherwise you can hear it and you understand it. And it doesn't sound too weird. But video, it's just going
to go by fast.
It's going to look like Keystone Cops. It's going to.
I know. Another example I just saw yesterday in my news feed is that Disney Plus, which is the new Disney streaming service, and they're going to have a bunch of stuff exclusively on that service, including The Simpsons.
Well, there's been a big furor over that. Because the first 19 Simpsons shows were shot
19 episodes. 19 seasons.
Were shot 4 by 3.
Correct.
And what they've been doing to fit a wide screen is zooming in.
Dropping. Yes.
Which means you lose a significant portion of the screen.
That's right. And maybe some really cool visual jokes.
Well, there's one scene where they're at the Duff factory, and it turns out all 3 Duff beers, Duff Light, Duff Reserve, and Duff Regular, come from the same pipe. But you don't see that.
You don't see that in 16 by 9. And so what Disney announced, I just read yesterday, is that they are going to offer an option on Disney Plus where you can watch those episodes in 4 by 3.
That's going to start next year. But I like it when companies listen and they hear and they go, oh,
yep,
we didn't even think about this. It's the same. FX did the same thing when they re-released all the Simpsons. So Disney should have known. Yes. There's also the issue of Star Wars being edited.
Yes. Yep, exactly.
Tell me about that. Is this the Han shot first issue?
This is the Han shot first issue, yes.
If you're not a Star Wars fanatic, but in the very first Star Wars movie, Episode 4, Han and the bounty hunter are
Greedo, I think his name is,
are in a bar, and the issue is Han Solo a cold-blooded killer, or did he shoot Greedo in self-defense?
Yeah. Yes.
And in fact, I think Han did shoot first, right? But George Lucas didn't want anybody to think that Han was a jerk.
Right. Although in other ways he definitely is a jerk.
He's a jerk, I mean, but they didn't want him to think he's a murderer. He's a scallywag. Not a stone cold killer, just a So in the edited version that they're showing, what happens? Do you know? I don't. I'm not going to pay for this, by the way. There are 3 new streaming services starting up in the next year, and it's crazy.
I know.
I don't want to pay. I know it's only $6.99, but I don't want to pay it.
But that times 3.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I mean, all the Star Wars. What else is? I
own all the Star Wars movies. I bought them. I don't care. I'm not a Marvel fan. That's the other thing.
Yeah, that's the other thing that's going to be on there, right?
And there's new stuff like the midichlorians. Or whatever it is, the Mandalorians.
Mandalorians, I believe, right? Midichlorians are the cellular things that tell you whether you're a Jedi or not, right?
I'm not a big Star Trek fan. So, I don't want to buy it. And also it offends me. I didn't buy CBS All Access either, even though there was a new Star Trek on it.
I'm torn on that one.
It offends me.
I agree, but I want to see I want to see Picard. I want to see the new series. So I'm probably going to pay.
That's why it offends me, because they're kind of holding these shows hostage.
Yeah.
We would love you to see our beautiful show, but it's going to cost you.
Mm-hmm. So if you want total access to everything that's online, you're going to be paying through the nose.
Yeah, we thought
I don't
we were going
like
to
this
save
fragmentation.
We thought we were going to save money with cord cutting.
Right.
Can I give you a hint, folks? You never save money.
You never save
They
money.
always make
yes.
more. Now, admittedly,
That's
all these new
exactly.
programs cost money to make, so you got to pay for them somehow.
Right,
I understand that.
Now, I don't know whether the streaming service will have commercials or not. One thing I really hate about Hulu is you pay them, right, a monthly subscription fee, and you still have to watch commercials, and you can't even skip over them.
I pay extra to not have the commercials.
Yeah, I would too, but I don't know if they have that option.
Yeah, they do. You could pay more.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a lot more.
So instead of $5 a month, it's $10 a month
it's like
or
12
whatever.
or something. Yeah,
Something. Yeah, I mean, this adds up over time, which is why I haven't really yet become a true cord cutter. I still have satellite service. And I also have over the air, which is a cord cutting method to do that.
I feel like the cable companies are like the boss in The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Right?
Montgomery Burns.
Mr. Burns.
Mr. Burns.
We're going to make money no matter what. You'll be back.
Yes.
Go ahead, cut the cord, Smithers.
Right.
We don't care.
Yeah, they don't care. They're going to make their money one way or another. It's just going to be through a different
part of the problem is everybody owns everybody else. There's only a handful of companies now.
Exactly.
So there's no competition at all.
Right.
And what's really bad is that each company, for instance, this is the other reason I don't like Disney Plus, they pulled their content out of Netflix.
Yep.
And said, no, you're going to have to buy a new streaming service if you want that content. And that's what's happening is that each company has its own service and they don't share. And I just don't like it.
Yep. And that's going to be terrible. Terrible. People are going to have to spend through the nose to get everything they want.
Release the hounds. What can you do?
What can you do?
I don't know what. You can listen to podcasts. They're free. You can listen to the radio. It's free. Mm-hmm. There's lots of, this is actually the truth. And people complain about this. There's too much good content.
Yeah.
Right? There's too much good stuff.
Too much
I
good
came
stuff,
back from 3 weeks away, and there's like 30 shows I have to watch now. Apple TV Plus with all their stuff. By the way, I started last night. It's not good. But okay, we'll talk about that another time. Thank you, Scott. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Have you watched, at least Apple TV Plus, you get a year free, but you're getting what you pay for. It's terrible. Did you watch the new show, the morning show?
No.
This is
what
the one.
Morning?
It's Jennifer Aniston. Jennifer Aniston. It's Apple TV Plus. Jennifer Aniston. It's called The Morning Show. Jennifer Aniston, Steve Carell, and Reese Witherspoon. And the original conception was it's a morning show. Jennifer Aniston's been on for years, and the plucky young Southerner Reese Witherspoon gets hired, and it's the battle of the sexes.
The battle of the.
But then they
women,
decided. After Me Too, we got to freshen this up a little bit. So they added Steve Carell, and the series begins with him getting fired for sexual harassment.
Yeah.
So they kind of bolted that onto the whole thing. It's basically Sorkin light. They couldn't get Aaron Sorkin, I guess, so they had some guy write it like Aaron Sorkin.
Like him, yeah. I have not signed up for Apple TV Plus yet either.
Well, if you buy any Apple device, it's free.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah, you get a year free if you buy a new iPhone, if you buy an Apple TV, if you buy an Apple computer, it's free. But of course, you spend thousands of dollars
for
on
that
the free
device.
service. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And it's only for a year. And you know as well as I do how fast a year goes by.
I think they can't. Yeah, I do. They can't charge because it's kind of scant offerings at this point. So that's the problem.
Whereas Disney Plus, that's a pretty deep catalog there.
It's cheap. It's less expensive. Yeah, the rocks in Petra are just stunning. I would show you more, but I haven't launched this computer.
That red
and
color just really knocks me out.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's gorgeous. Here's a selfie of me and Lisa.
Ooh, let's see the selfie. Isn't that sweet?
Yeah, it was so much fun.
Oh man.
I admit it, I did not want to come home. One of these days, I'm going to stay.
Yep.
There we are.
Yeah, that's great. Is that? Oh, yeah, that's Petra.
Yep.
Sure. just up the hill or something.
Yeah, so you can climb up, and that's where we met this family. You can climb up.
Oh, that's an amazing experience. I'm so thrilled to hear about that.
Well, and then Masada was also quite cool. Have you been to the Holy Land?
I have not. I've never been to the Holy Land.
It was kind of. I was a little disappointed. It was kind of like Disneyland.
Oh man, I was kind of afraid of that.
It's like jammed with tourists. You have to wait hours. Here, I'll show you a picture.
Just to get in.
Yeah.
Masada is the fortress where.
Yes, it's amazing.
Yeah,
that was worth it. You take a funicular. Funicular. You take a funicular because if you had to climb up here, you could see this is where you start at the bottom.
Oh man!
These squares of the Roman, because the Roman army besieged the Jews here, the rebels.
Right. So those were their encampments?
Put squares where their encampments were to demonstrate that. And, of course, it's their Alamo. The famous story is the 100 and some soldiers that were there slaughtered their children and wives and then killed themselves rather than become slaves. But it's an amazing – it's kind of like the Grand Canyon. I mean, it's just an amazing thing to see. You're just
Wow. But you said it was very crowded and you had to...
Masada's great. Masada,
that wasn't so bad.
It's Jerusalem. I can tell you stories.
Holiest city in the world.
And everything is
one of them.
Tradition has it that this is where Jesus was crucified. Tradition has it that this is where he, his tomb was.
Where he was entombed.
It's all made up. So, although the Western Wall, now that's something to see. That's the Solomon's Temple, and that's quite amazing too. This was I didn't go in because I didn't want to, I didn't want to bother the devout.
Yeah, sure.
But it was, it's incredible. Anyway, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888, ask Leo. What do you think of all those streaming services? I mean, it's kind of a nutty position I have that you shouldn't have to pay for something that costs them a lot of money. They put a lot of effort in. These are. So that's a nutty position. I feel like we were robbed. A lot of this stuff was on Netflix. I was paying for Netflix. They took it off and they said, no, you're going to have to subscribe. The word that we use for this in technology is silos. They silo their content. They put a wall around it and they say, you want to see it, you got to pay for it. And that once or twice, that's fine. But when it gets to be 5 different services, I don't know. What do you think? Am I nuts to say that? Apple's service is free if you buy an Apple thing, which of course means it's not free because Apple things are pricey. The least expensive Apple thing you could buy, I guess, would be an Apple TV, and you'd get a year of Apple's TV Plus. Partly that's because they have so few shows. And I've only seen one episode of the morning show, which was unimpressive. But I'll wait. I'll look at the other ones. It's kind of funny. The morning show, which is the Jennifer Aniston, Steve Carell, Reese Witherspoon vehicle about a morning TV show and, the drama involved and all that. And I normally like that kind of stuff because I used to work in TV. It's kind of fun to see. But I think it's funny because there's a lot of bad words in it, a lot of F-bombs constantly. And I'm more than normal. And I was thinking, I bet you Apple was worried that people would think, that we're going to be too sanitized. And I think they told the writers, put in a lot of bad words. Just say them all the time, constantly. It stood out. That and the fact that everybody has iPhones. And they're long, lingering shots on their Apple products. Well, you knew that was going to happen. 8888, ask Leo. That's the phone number. Blackie in Needles, California. Hello, Blackie. Welcome.
Hey, Leo, good to talk to you this morning. I'll cut right to it because I got a little bonus question.
Yes, sir.
I'm in the process of turning our living room around, and I've got to move all kinds of stuff. And I want to put in a somewhat easy 5.2 surround sound system with the minimum of wires.
Yeah.
I know that's a lot, but I figured Scott's got the answer.
He is the answer man. You can go wireless, can't you, Scott?
Sure. Yeah.
Is wireless any good, though?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, for the audio file, for the picky listener, you might hear a slight difference in quality. Wired is always better.
I can't hear thunder if it happens next to me.
You must be my age. So wireless
matter.
subs are fine, right? It's
absolutely. Yeah. Wireless rear surround speakers are fine as well.
So if you can wire the front speakers, the center, the left, right, that'll give you the best sound quality. Doable. And that's because that's next to the TV. You already got wires there.
Yeah.
And then you can go wireless with the back stuff and the sub.
Yep.
Whose system would you recommend? And I know you're up against sponsors, that kind of stuff. But
No. Hey,
that's no problem.
No sponsor dictates I want to be very clear. Dictates the editorial content. Plus, we don't have a sponsor for speakers, so it's okay.
Okay.
Right. All right. So wireless surrounds. I know there are a number of companies that do that.
We have a Bose system. I think it's overpriced. It was $2,500, and I don't think it sounds that great.
Klipsch makes wireless
I like Klipsch.
systems, and Klipsch is very, very good.
I think there's Polk Audio has one. Didn't we have a Vizio soundbar system we liked a lot?
Now, are you okay with a soundbar, or do you want 3 separate speakers in the front?
No, soundbar would be okay.
That's a lot easier,
okay.
and that had a dedicated sub.
Absolutely, dedicated sub and wireless surround speakers. Now, those speakers, you have to either, depending on the system, you have to either plug them to a wall because they have their own amplifier and their own radio receiver, so they're not truly wireless in that sense. But they sometimes connect with wires to the subwoofer, and you put the subwoofer in the back of the room. You put the subwoofer. That's one way to.
10 powers all that.
Correct. Correct.
Somebody in the chat room is pointing out that Audio Engine makes little doohickeys, little adapters that will go on their powered speakers too. So you can you're not stuck. You can use even speakers that aren't wireless in a wireless configuration.
Correct. Because the Audio Engine makes that. Polk, I think, makes one as well, an adapter.
I am a Polk Audio fan.
Yeah, I am too.
Now, they got bought. I'm sure everybody's been bought.
Polk, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Mike Heiss in the chat room can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they are now under the Sound United umbrella. I'm not 100% certain of that, but I think they're along with.
Sound United is the company that owns everything else.
Yeah, right.
What is it? Is it Denon and Marantz?
Denon, Marantz.
Harman Kardon? No, that's Samsung.
No, that's Samsung.
Yeah. You can see the reasonable confusion.
Would I be pushing my luck if I said, is there something at Costco that might be a plug-and-play kind of a thing?
Well, let's see. I think Vizio sells in Costco.
Yeah, they certainly sell TVs. I would actually look at that Vizio soundbar. It's not if you're not an audiophile, and if it's really not critical to you that the surrounds come from the left and the right and all of that. I was that Apple Morning Show had extreme surround. Of course, it's Apple; they're going to be showing that off. And it was weird because there's people behind me talking while I'm watching the show. And then I realized, oh no, that's the studio. that's the people in the studio.
Oh man, yeah.
I thought, well, shut up. There's no one there. But if that's not critical for you, I think a sound bar, which does give you some sound stage, you just can't make it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Depending on the size.
The Vizio was good.
What size is your TV?
Great.
What size is your TV, sir? Blackie.
We have a 65, and we're
nice.
Within 10 feet of it, so it's a decent picture.
Awesome. Get that
12, maybe 12, but
Costco probably has that Vizio soundbar.
I'm just looking on the Costco website now. They got tons of Vizio soundbars.
And the new one is Atmos, which means it also has upward firing speakers in the bar.
If you can spend that much money, then that's absolutely right.
Yeah. That's the one we reviewed not so long ago, and I think we liked it a lot, as I remember.
Right. Right. The Vizio.
Okay, Blackie, you got a minute.
Okay, very well. I'll make it quick. 3,700-mile trip with our RV.
Yay!
You listen to an AM station. You go past a big 40-footer truck, and not everyone, but a good majority of them, you get a bunch of RF interference right as you pass the truck. Yeah. What is generating that RF that fouls up the AM signal?
That's a great question. My Tesla did not have an AM radio in it, and I was told that's because the electric motors are so noisy that they would have to spend lots of money to shield it. There are some electric vehicles that have AM radios, but apparently it's a little bit of an issue because of the way the AM antennas work. So anything electric. So if that big rig has a significant amount of electronics in there, and I would bet a modern big rig would, that could be generating enough RF to really be screwing with your AM reception.
I mean, it'll blank the signal out for the 10 or 15 seconds while you're in close proximity.
I mean, that's why the FCC does these tests, this FCC-B category to make sure that devices are not interfering. But if you're in close proximity, you might still get interference. And I'm guessing that we have a lot of truckers listening. If you want to call and let us know, what are those? There must be some pretty elaborate electronics in a modern.
No doubt. Hey, one last question: did you do the Burj Khalifa?
We did. The tallest building in the world, or at least it was until recently. We did you get to go to the 154th floor, and there's an open air balcony there. And we got the best pictures.
Would be on that.
We got this. We went up for the sunset tea on the Burj Khalifa, and it's really a zoo. The line is long and it's dangerous, but boy, we got some great pictures. I'll have to share them with you at some point. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. More of your calls coming up.
T1000's asking if I've reviewed the ultra cheap ONN 4K Walmart TVs. No, I don't recognize ONN as a model. I do know. I mean, it sounds like it might be a captive brand, like Insignia and Scepter are for Best Buy, but I don't know, and I have not reviewed them. But man, oh man, the prices of TVs are coming down so fast. And I'm going to be talking about Black Friday, of course, maybe next week. The week after is really the Saturday before. Let me just double check that. Black Friday is the 29th. Oh, so next week. Yeah, next week is the time to talk about Black Friday.
Yeah, it's so late this year, though, that a lot of retailers are starting early. I know. I have started already to put together kind of a list of my favorites. So I'll talk about that next week. Yeah, Zephyr, is it too early to ask about best Black Friday deals? Actually, probably not, because a lot of people are starting them early. I traditionally do a Black Friday segment the Saturday before Black Friday, which is next Saturday. So that's what I'll do then. ONN, Mike Heiss is saying, ONN is their house brand. They have a version of the new Roku soundbar under ONN. What a weird name, ONN, on. Tim Elliott says that Robert Heron says that the best antenna for the money is Channel Master Smart Tenna Plus. Well, Channel Master is a great brand, so and Robert Heron I trust tremendously about this sort of thing. So if he says so, I haven't tried it myself. I've tried Mohu, and that works very well. I've tried Winegard, and that works very well. They work very well. But Channel Master, I wouldn't have any problem believing also works really well. So that's what I can say about that. Let's see if there's anybody else with a quick question. Scooter X, Disney Plus will fix The Simpsons joke-destroying 16:9 aspect ratio starting in 2020. Right, exactly what we were talking about, which I think is good. But it's going to be offered as an option as far as I know, which I guess is fine. If somebody wants to watch in 16:9, okay. Just like if somebody wants to watch a Netflix movie at twice the normal speed, okay. I would never choose to do that. And if I were a content creator, I would probably be pretty upset about it. It's the same as with this soap opera effect.
the frame interpolation. Some directors are railing against that because it makes their movie not look like what they intended. And yeah, I get that. And in fact, who was it, Mike, who we both went to a press conference a couple months ago about filmmaker mode that was going to make sure that frame interpolation was turned off if you went into filmmaker mode on your TV. Was it the UHD Alliance? I think that's who it was. These things happen so fast. Anyway, here we go.
Tom Cruise says, friends don't let friends use screen interpolation. Thank you, Scotty. Have a great week.
Thanks,
Next
Leo.
week,
You too.
Black Friday deals.
Next week, Black Friday deal.
Take care.
Thanks, you too.
Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk about computers and the internet and home theater and digital photography and smartphones and smart watches and all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo, that's the phone number. 888-827-5536. Toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Outside that area, you can still reach me. It's not a big deal. You just use Skype out. That lets you call phones. And then you're calling a phone that's toll-free in the U.S., so it shouldn't cost you anything. 8888 Ask Leo. Line 1, Charlie, Hanover, Massachusetts. Hello, Charlie.
Leo, this is the Ted Williams guy. I talked to you before.
Oh, yeah, good to talk to you.
I just didn't want to tell Kim because she would know, but that's okay.
I'm glad you got off the MTA, Charlie. Did they ever say that to you in Massachusetts?
Well, I don't know, but I've been taking the train, and I almost lost my spot because they wouldn't let me off.
Oh!
Yeah.
Oh, let me off. I got to talk to the tech guy. Let me off.
Yeah.
That was a great Kingston Trio song all about our caller here, Charlie. He'll never return.
And I can play it on the banjo.
Can you?
I play the guitar.
Nice.
Yeah, I can.
What can I do for you, Charlie?
Today I have a problem with my iPhone 6S.
Uh-oh.
The battery I know is 100%, but all of a sudden I turn it on and it says 10%, low battery. Any reason why?
Yeah, it's old. So that's the nature of lithium-ion batteries. They work great until they die, and after it depends on the technology and the battery, but typically about 500 complete charge cycles. That's all the way up and all the way down. And your 6S is almost 4 years old, right?
Yeah. But I bought a new battery from Amazon.
There was your mistake.
Really?
How did you put it in? Did you do that yourself?
I did. That's my problem. I tried to put it in myself.
Oh, yeah, you can't.
No, this is too hard.
Now, Apple for a long time had a $39 battery replacement deal for that 6S. Yeah. But I think it's expired.
It has expired because I called Apple and they couldn't do anything for me.
That was such a great deal. My mom has a 6 or a 6S. She brought it in. $39 later, she says, like new.
Yeah.
So that's just what happens. The chemistry on those lithium-ion wears out. All battery, the chemistry wears out eventually because that's how battery works. It's a chemical reaction, goes back and forth, eventually just wears out. And at that point, it won't hold a charge, and that's exactly the symptom you've got. You charge it all night, but it's still at 10%.
Yeah. Now, could you tell me how many MAs are in that battery?
I don't know off the top of my head. That's not the only issue of choosing a replacement. You have to choose an exact.
Well, that's what this one, it says 6S right on the.
Yeah, but you got it. Where'd you get it again? Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah. What does that mean?
I tried other places, and they were out of stock.
Amazon is notorious for they don't care. They sell counterfeit parts. They said bad parts. The worst thing you could put in a phone is a bad battery because those are the ones that might not have the additional circuitry to prevent overcharging. You overcharge a lithium-ion battery, it explodes. That's not good. It also may not be manufactured well, so it might leak toxic chemicals. There's all sorts of reasons. You've got to be careful with battery tech. Apple will replace it, but it won't be $39.
Yeah.
What did they say? 99?
I don't remember. They wouldn't even give me an option.
Oh, they do. Go to the Apple store. They'll replace it. It's just it won't be the deal it was before. If failing that, you can take it to a third party. There are people who will replace those, but you want them to use that genuine Apple batteries, and you definitely can't do it yourself. It's a very tricky thing to do. You've got to have spudgers and wedges and all sorts of weird screwdrivers to get in that darn thing. It's sealed up. Apple doesn't, you know. So it's always better to let Apple, especially with batteries, don't mess with batteries.
Yeah. Okay.
It's always a better idea to let Apple do it. And even if it's $99, that's cheaper than a new iPhone.
Yeah, I want to mention this while I have you on the phone. I bought myself an Amazon Fire Cube.
Yeah. Aren't those cool?
And I had problems with it. It was coming in and out on the TV all of a sudden. And I figured out what was the problem.
What was it?
It's the switch. You have to upgrade your switch to a 4K switch, not a 2K or whatever.
This is always a problem, and people got to remember this. And I've said this before, and I got burned. When you buy a 4K TV, suddenly everything else, all the way down the line, has to be upgraded. So that Amazon Fire TV Cube is 4K. You have a 4K TV, but whatever's in between also has to be 4K. So it's an expense. We call it the upgrade cascade. You upgrade one part, suddenly everything else you got to buy all new. So yeah, that's something to be aware of. 4K means everything has to be 4K.
Yep. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah. Hey, give my regards to
all your help
the splendid Splinter.
Your trip.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we still doing baseball as much as we can.
Remind me, you did a Ted Williams camp. What did I forgot? What are you doing?
It was at Ted Williams camp. My name is the fellow that does it. His name is Steve Ferroli.
Oh yeah,
Ferroli, and he just talks baseball. And I'm going to set up a podcast equipment with him.
Oh, good.
Doing interviews. I'll let you know if I need more help, but I've got microphones. I've got it, so it's just I just got to find the right station. I got to have it so I can get on.
You know, the easiest way to do a podcast now, it's really great. It's a company that Spotify bought called Anchor, Anchor.fm. And you do it with your smartphone. Anybody can make a podcast. It's free. They store it for you. They make it work with all the podcast clients, including iTunes. It couldn't be easier. And when people ask me these days, I don't say go out and buy a lot of equipment. You don't need to. You just need Anchor FM.
Well, I did anyways.
Yeah.
I did anyways.
Well, you can still do it and use Anchor for the distribution and storage, and it's free.
Okay. I got shock mounts. I got microphones.
Oh, yeah.
All that.
Oh, you're going to have fun.
I'm going to have fun with it.
Steve teaches the Ted Williams principles of hitting. And of course, he was the greatest baseball hitter of all time. So
yes, he does.
TedWilliamsCamp.com.
Like as well. He talks just like him too.
Does he?
Because when we were at this house in Florida, the dog Ted had to go to rehab, and he left us at the house alone.
Oh no!
So this is a true story, and the dog. Steve would hear Ted, or Steve would mimic Ted, and the dog would come in. Where is he? He's wagging his tail looking for his master.
Does Ted have that nice Red Sox accent? Not Yankees. He had that old great Boston accent.
Oh yeah, he had. Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
He had a lot kinds of memorabilia in the house.
Oh, that must have been something.
So
what a treat! What a treat!
He says to me, "Don't touch anything now. We're here." And I didn't. I had to abide by my friend's wishes because Ted would have kicked us out.
Yeah. Well, Ted's no longer with us, but Steve can do the voice.
Oh, I know.
Hey, it was great.
Still lingers on.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Nice talking to you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Charlie. Good luck with the podcast.
You're welcome. Bye now.
Be very careful when you're buying batteries. Amazon, eBay, lots of places you can buy cheap batteries made in China. They may be dangerous. They may not have the right circuitry built in. They may be poorly manufactured. Maybe they don't have all the milliamp hours they claim to stamped on the side. In many ways, this is a problem. And you don't want to mess with lithium-ion chemistry. It's dangerous. That's why, I was getting on the plane. They had a big sign that says, if you've got a MacBook from this era, their battery, you can't bring it on. Maybe when you've heard this announcement on a plane before, if you drop your phone into the seat, do not attempt to get it out. Do not adjust the seat. Call the flight attendant, because if they crush that phone and with the seat motor, you moving it back and forth, you crush the phone, the battery could explode. You got a fire on an airplane, you got a big problem. So lithium ion, it's not worse than gasoline. Anything that can store a lot of energy is going to have the potential to release that energy suddenly, but you can't mess around with lithium-ion batteries. Get them from the original manufacturer, and ideally have the original manufacturer install it. I'm pretty sure Apple still will do it. It just may not do it cheap. I think it's $100. It's worth it because you're going to get that another 2 or 3 years out of that phone. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. I'm back in the saddle. I'm ready to answer your questions. Give me a ring. Let's talk tech right after this. Hey, we got a new sponsor. I'm so excited. A new sponsor for the podcast. I want to show you my new browser of choice. Actually, it's not, and you've heard me talk about it for a long time now. I'm really glad they're a sponsor. Brave. And in fact, what's cool, Brave just came out. They came out with their newest version, 1.0, but I've been using it for a long time. So here's why I like Brave as a browser. First of all, it's based on the Chromium code base. So it's everything Google Chrome is without the spyware. It lets you, Google Chrome has recently disabled ad blocking. This is a next-generation browser built by a team that's focused on privacy and performance, and man, they got it. I love Brave. You will too. You don't give up anything. You notice I'm doing dark mode, which I like, but you don't give up anything, but you get so much more, including the Brave address, the Brave Sync, which means all my Brave on my iPhone, my Android phone, my Linux, Windows, and Mac machines all have the same bookmarks. The Brave Sync does that, all the same plugins. It's really nice. Look at this, social media blogging. In fact, I got to turn that off. This turns off the Facebook spyware, the Twitter embedded tweets, all the spyware. You could change your search engine. I use Start Page, so then you really de-Googled it. It's got ad blocking built in. It's got all sorts of anti-spyware features. So you get speed, you get security, you get privacy, including shields that block data grabbing ads and trackers. And because you're not downloading all that giant Flash stuff and dancing bears and punching monkeys, it's up to 6 times faster. Plus, Brave saves battery life, reduces data costs. No creepy ads following you on the web. Once I found Brave, I just said, this is it. This is the browser. It is awesome. Now, one of the reasons I also especially like Brave is because they realize that when you're blocking ads, you're also blocking revenue to some of your favorite sites. So they've created something really cool. They call it Basic Attention Tokens, BAT. And when you do that, you can reward content creators with BAT, which is really nice. Their goal is not to break the web, but to fix the web, to improve privacy, and give publishers back their fair share of revenue. I really like. Now, that's optional. You don't have to do it, but you can. I think it's really fantastic. Everything Brave has done is thoughtful. They've done such a nice job. I am so impressed. And it's free. You could trust Brave. It was co-founded by Brendan Eich and Brian Bondi. They were at Mozilla. They created Firefox. Brendan created JavaScript. You get private windows. You get Tor if you want. It is the best browsing experience. And honestly, it uses all the Google extensions. If you're a Chrome user, you can move to Brave without any pain and get all the benefit of a safe, private browser that's 6 times faster and uses less battery. Download it right now for free, brave.com/twit. Look, I switched to Brave. It's my default browser. You should too. Yesterday was about big tech. Today is about us. Brave.com/twit. It's the antidote. It's the antidote to big tech. Really a nice job. Love the Brave. And no, they fixed all. So somebody's saying, does it suffer from the Chrome memory black hole. No, what's great is they took the code base and they fixed it. They took out a lot of the stuff that's bad about Chrome, only kept the stuff that's good. And I have to say, it's really well done. Brave.com/twit. And we're so glad to have Brave as a sponsor. I feel like, I had Bcrypt, who is their CTO on triangulation a couple of months ago, and I was so impressed. And of course, I know Brendan. I'm just so impressed by what they've done. Brave.com/twit. Thank you, Brave. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, is here to answer your questions about anything to do with... I'm going to stop now. Derek in Southern California. Hello, Derek. Why does your truck ruin AM reception?
Hey, Leo. How you doing? Good show, man.
I'm great. Is it the alternator on the truck? Somebody said, they probably have a big old alternator on there.
Okay, this problem ensues deeper, and I wasn't aware that our trucks are interfering with the radios around us. That was news to me. Well, I want to talk about irritating. It's either when it's hot outside and I'm running the air conditioner, 90 times out of 100, the fan from the cab air conditioning system, the blower, completely phases out the sound from the AM radio.
So you can't listen to your radio either.
Right. So when I turn the fan on, as I increase the speed of the fan, as the motor starts spinning faster, the interference becomes greater. And if the fan's all the way up, you don't hear anything coming through.
Now, I don't know, but that strikes me as a poorly made fan.
It is incredibly frustrating because when it's hot, I'm in Southern California, and often it can be 90 or 100 degrees, and it's a choice between my AM radio
and your
AC.
AC.
Air conditioning.
That's a tough one.
Often I'll switch back and forth, like, okay, enough's enough. I need some air conditioning. But that's the beauty of live streaming, because if I run it through the Bluetooth and stream,
the internet still works, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, on behalf of our mothership, the 50,000-watt blowtorch of Southern California, KFI AM, I'm glad you chose you made the right choice. You chose us instead of being cool.
Yeah, it's and there's differences too. I have a Hyundai Accent, 2014 Hyundai, and only two times has my AM transmitter worked.
Wow.
Otherwise, it's full of static.
Yeah.
I don't understand. And once in a while, I'll turn it on and see, is it going to work today? Nope, absolutely not. So
a lot of electronics are basically radio transmitters. In fact, I remember back in the golden days when we were going from 90 hertz processors to megahertz processors, there were people who were worried that the processor would be generating enough radio frequency to jam FM radios. But, of course, it's all about shielding. And, you can shield this stuff, but a cheap fan, maybe they just didn't put the effort in to protect it. Because, of course, that the coil that's making the fan rotate is a little transmitter. And they should, all they got to do is wrap some tin foil around it. It would be all right.
Aluminum shielding? Or
or a little lead foil, something. Yeah. A little shielding around there. But that, that adds a penny to the cost, and I guess they didn't want to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's interesting. I bet you there's a lot of stuff on a modern truck. There's a lot of electronics. And I bet you there's all kinds of things. I mean, there's the old analog stuff like the alternator or a fan, but there's also a lot of modern stuff. And all of that is potentially a radio transmitter. So, hey, I really appreciate this. Is direct experience.
A direct experience, yes. And we all learn something together on this show every Saturday.
And Derek, on behalf of the great KFI, thank you for choosing KFI.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, Derek, take care. See, you got to choose the right. You got to make the right choice. Hey, speaking of right choices, this is the time to get an Epson EcoTank printer. Have I mentioned a few times? The holidays are here. Kiss expensive ink cartridges goodbye, because the Epson EcoTank, it comes with a ridiculous amount of ink in the box, thousands of pages, supersized, easy to fill tanks. You can print all your holiday wish lists. You can print your letters. You can print beautiful color cards. And you don't have to run out and get cartridges halfway through, because it's going to last you years. It's changing the way people print. With easy-to-fill, supersized ink tanks, you make fewer trips to the store, less frustration, more time to treat yourself and others to something nice. Give yourself the gift of time. Maybe give some friends an EcoTank printer. At least get it for yourself, right? We love those Epson EcoTank printers. I love them so much. I have a couple of them. I'm a big fan. When you're thinking about the perfect holiday gift, add the EcoTank printer to your holiday shopping list this year. You can fill and chill. Check out the Epson EcoTank printers at Costco, Office Depot, Walmart, and, of course, Epson.com/EcoTankLeo. Line 4, Tommy, Columbia, Missouri. Hello, Tommy.
Hello, thank you for taking my call.
But of course, sir.
I got the Pixelbook Go 2 weeks ago, and I just adore it.
Oh, that's the new one that Google announced.
Yes.
And it's got that funny rubber ribbed back on the
metal. It's more like metal.
It's like metal. Rubber. Okay, but it's grippy. It's grippy, right?
I'll tell you, I got the base model, the 650.
Yep.
And I know it's a little high on price, but for my needs, it is well worth it because it's sturdy. It's not plasticky, you know.
Yes.
Metal.
I like a metal case on my laptops. I agree with you.
So
well, that's good
really
to know.
Happy with it. I just wanted to since you just got back from that wonderful vacation of yours, which I've seen most of the photos of that you and your wife took.
Oh, good. Yeah, we posted them on our blogs. Lisa has the Life of Lisa. .com, and I've got leolaporte.com. We started to put some pictures up. Yeah. No, I'm glad to hear it because, Google makes the best Chromebooks. They are pricier, but if you can afford a few $100 more, you're going to get, I think, a better experience. I really do.
I'm getting 12 hours on this thing.
Oh, man, isn't that nice?
All-day use, basically,
Isn't that nice? And you would agree with me then when I tell people you don't necessarily need to buy Windows or Mac. Get something simpler, more reliable, more secure.
Yes, and it's very secure. That's what I worry about the most. And when I go to my local coffee shop in the morning for coffee with the rest of the old folks.
You can stay there all day.
Well, I can stay there all day, but I use VPN.
What's that?
Well, so the website don't get my information.
Oh, you're smart. What is it? Yeah. BTN?
No, VPN.
Oh, you use a VPN. Oh, I know what that is. Yeah, VPN. Good for you. So you're security minded. I like that.
I try to be.
Yeah.
At 68, you're a little bit younger than me.
So. Oh, not much, Tommy. I'm catching up with you.
Oh.
You watch out. I'm going to lap you soon.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate the review. I've been wanting to talk to people who got them. So thank you, Tommy. I appreciate it. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hello, Johnny Jet. I missed you, my friend.
I've missed you, too. Rich DeMuro did a great job, but, he's no Leo Laporte, which he would tell you himself.
Well, Rich is too good, and he's never coming back because he's too good looking. I don't like him. No, I'm just teasing. He's great. No, he's great, and it's lucky because I like you. I like to travel. Unlike you, I have a job, and so it's nice to have somebody who will fill in for me on the a couple of times a year I go places. I'm a big travel fan.
I do have a job. I just don't have a job that keeps me in one place.
You have a traveling job.
Yeah, I'm actually,
I wish I'd thought of that.
I can't wait to hear all about your trip. I just flew in from Europe. I was at checking out a new hotel in Hamburg, the Courtyard in Hamburg. And then I decided to come home. Actually, I didn't come home. I'm in Florida right now for my dad's birthday. Today's his birthday.
Oh, you're such a good son.
So I'm going to take him to dinner tonight and before I go back.
How nice. Well, Johnny is a traveling guy. He's a guru. He's at johnnyjet.com. He's one of those travel influencers you hear so much about. It is a wild experience nowadays in the real world because when you travel somewhere that is Instagrammable, all of a sudden, I am literally in Jerusalem at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre that it was built, they say, where tradition has it, Jesus' tomb was. And there's a room around the tomb, and people wait for hours to get in there. And as they're going into the tomb, they pause, turn around, and take a selfie.
It's crazy.
And I'm thinking, that is just weird.
Yeah, I mean, there's some places you just don't take a selfie.
That is just so. But we live in Instagram land. In fact, even the guides at this point say, "Here's a good Instagram shot," and they wait.
So So that was in Palestine.
Bethlehem is in PLO, is in Palestine. Yeah, that's where you may remember from the Good Book, Jesus was born. And there's also a church there built over the manger where again, I keep saying tradition has it because nowhere knows where this, I don't think, it's not like the X marks the spot. They didn't have Google Maps, so they're guessing, it was around here somewhere. And, 1,000 years ago, somebody built a church, and so they just say, well, this is it. And it turns out.
Did you go there?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I didn't,
how'd you like it?
It was kind of crowded. It was like, it was more like Disneyland than the Holy Land, I'll be honest.
When I was there, it was not that crowded. I guess I went all time.
This is a picture I'm showing on the radio of where Jesus was born. It's a long wait to get in there, so I just peeked through the door.
Okay.
So there's people kneeling at where the manger was. That's it. That's all I got. Wow. Some of my pictures aren't great.
Hey, at least you got to go, and that's.
It was a wonderful trip, and people are wonderful all over the world. And I know especially in the Middle East, we think of them as trouble spots, but some of the nicest
people
generous
ever.
people I've ever met.
They really are.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole thing about travel. When I first went to the Middle East or anywhere, actually, I was just afraid to leave. And then I get there and I realize, man, I feel safer in these places than I do at home.
You're safer in Israel than you are anywhere.
You do.
And
you are.
And Dubai is the safest city in the world. You don't have to worry about a thing.
You can leave your wallet in the Middle East in the bathroom and go back the next day and it'll be there.
Yeah. My guide was telling me that she went to she visited Chicago and she was so nervous the whole time that she was going to get robbed. Because she wasn't used to it.
It's sad. I mean, but Americans have this mentality, and I was one of them until I started traveling.
Travel. That's why we love travel. It broadens you.
It does, and that's without a doubt. Yeah. And so I'm glad you did it. And before I tell you a website, what was your favorite country, by the way, on your trip?
That's a tough one. I think my favorite place that we went was Jordan, Petra in Jordan. Unbelievable. Yeah. Really amazing.
I saw some of your pictures on Lisa's Facebook, and that was great.
That was certainly one of my favorite places. I loved Athens is great. Dubai is great. We were in Jerusalem, amazing. We were in Egypt. We saw the Temple of Karnak and the Valley of the Kings. So it was a pretty amazing trip.
And how was Polaris?
United's business is very nice. Very nice. Very nice.
Good.
Yeah.
I haven't been on it yet.
Yeah. And we took Air Canada back, and Air Canada has it's United code sharing. It's pretty much the same style. And it was very nice on those Dreamliners. Yeah, it's wonderful.
I love it.
I watched about 12 movies.
Well, speaking of Israel, in the Middle East, there's a new website. Actually, it's not that new. It's been around for a year. But it's called tryairpair.com. So TRYAIRPAIR.com. So this is how you get a babysitter on your next flight. So if any parents out there need help on a flight going between North America and Israel, right now that's all they're flying.
Wait a minute, they're on the plane?
Yes. So what they do is they have vetted travelers who are already on the flight. For most of the part. Sometimes you would have to pay for someone's ticket, but right now they're saying that most of the time there's already someone on the flight. It is brilliant. I wish they had it all over because especially single parents who are traveling with kids, it's almost impossible, even when there's two of you.
Now I get the name of the site. It's au pair in the air.
Exactly. And so these guys are the babysitters are looking for extra money because they're already on the flight anyway, and they want to help. They usually sit you next to each other. Not always. It all depends on the how far in advance and all that stuff you book. But they'll help you with an extra hand, and it's a win-win for everyone. Parents can take a nap, can relax, and these are supposedly vetted babysitters. And they have over 1,000 right now.
There's so many young people going to Israel from the U.S. for birthright that I imagine it's easy to sign up sitters. That's really great. That's really great.
I honestly think it's a great idea. And
I'd love to see this on more flights. Yeah.
So that's called Air Pair. and I'll tweet it out. I'll put it in your show notes.
Johnny used to be the king of I'm never going to check a bag. Then he had 2 children.
Yeah. Well, I haven't flown with my second yet. So even with one, we fly like we're a circus.
Oh, yeah. You got to bring a lot of stuff.
You got to bring everything. You got to bring like 5 changes of clothes for a day.
Yeah.
And
we're bringing huge back. Yeah. So what else? So that's great. AirPair. That's tryairpair.com if you're going to Israel.
Oh, yeah, and hopefully they'll expand, and it's not just, and it's for North America, so Canada as well.
Okay.
U.S. and Canada. How much time we got?
You got a minute. What else?
Okay, so today's my dad's birthday, and although it doesn't work for birthdays that far back, because my dad just turned 91, he wouldn't be too happy if I told him that.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
And but have you ever used the app Dark Sky?
That's my only weather app. That's all I use.
Did you know they have a Wayback Machine? So if you're looking at, and you scroll down at the very bottom, it says Time Machine. You tap that, and you can put in whatever date you want. But I think it goes back to 1946. I was just playing around with it. And you can see what the weather was the day you were born.
Oh, I'm going to do that right now.
And I think that's pretty cool. I just sent it to my wife.
I use their time machine going forward to see what's going to be like, especially as I travel in the towns I'm going to go to. But I didn't know you could go backwards. That's great.
Yeah. Back, at least for where my dad was born in Connecticut, it's 1946 as far as it goes, because I was working on it.
Yeah, so that's not far enough back for him, huh?
No, unfortunately not.
But I'm not quite as old as him. Let me see what the weather was
60
in New York City. Let me just see. On my birthday, that's pretty wild. Back
I love it.
1956.
56.
Yeah. It was a gloomy day when Leo was born. That's really cool. Thank you, Johnny. Dark Sky, a great app for iPhone and I think Android too. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Let me see here. Okay, I'm jumping back 22,997 days ago. That's hysterical. That's a nice, useful thing about it too. You can see how long ago you were born.
Exactly. Actually, that's what my wife's comment was when I sent it to her. She goes, "Oh my God, I've been alive for 15,000 days or something, whatever it was."
Wow. So let's see. I was born at 10 a.m., so it's 44 degrees and overcast. And I was born 22,997 days ago. That's hysterical.
Well, I'm glad you like it.
Wow. Let's see what the precipitation probability was. No precipitation. It was a little breezy, 9 degrees from the northeast. Humidity was 63%. The dew point was 32 degrees. The UV index very low because the cloud cover was 100%. This is really cool.
Well, you know what? Do Lisa's and take a screenshot and send it to her. Say, for her birthday. Say happy birthday.
I will.
You don't even need to buy a present now.
Thank you. You just saved me a lot of money. Wow. 3 days from now, I'll be 23,000 days old.
You should have a 23,000-day-old party.
That would be a better than a birthday party.
Actually, we could start a whole new thing with this thing.
I want my 23rd. Yeah, when you like an odometer, when it turns over, You should get a little extra something.
Yeah, I'm going to make a note right now.
I'm shooting for 30,000.
I'm with you.
So things are going well.
They're going great.
Nice. Hamburg. I wasn't going to say anything, but staying at a Marriott's in Hamburg is not my idea of a great time.
No, I mean, listen.
Especially in November.
Well, I was only there for a couple days.
It's freezing.
But it is freezing. I mean, it's not that bad. It was like 46 during the day, 37 at night.
The Beatles used to bitch and moan. They hated Hamburg because it was so damn cold.
But Hamburg is actually becoming really popular, and it's huge for theater, musicals especially.
Oh, that's interesting.
And their tourism is just – the hotels are just popping up left and right because they're getting so many tourists now. And also the cruises are huge. And that's actually the first time I ever went to Hamburg about 10 years ago, maybe it was with a cruise ship. So it's getting more and more popular.
Nice.
And they have a good it's a good scene. There's a lot of college kids, and
I actually enjoy Germany. We're going in June. We're going to do a river cruise And I really like it. We had a very nice time.
Where are you starting?
So it's Budapest to Munich, so it's Danube only.
Okay. So you're probably going to go.
That's
the
one where we're going to Oberammergau to see the Passion Play. You know, the one they do every 10 years. This is a big Christian. It's a big Christian year for me. I'm not even a Christian, but it's a big Christian year for me. I'm going to do the Passion Play. Went to the Holy Sepulchre.
So where's the Passion Play taking place?
In a German town called Oberammergau. They were they promised in the I think of the 16th or 15th century, if the plague passed them by, they would do a play to honor Jesus, a Passion Play, and they've been doing it every 10 years since the 16th century. And everybody in the town, 2,000 people, are in this play. It's very famous, but it's 2020. They only do it every 10 years. So we're going. I always wanted to go since I was a kid. The other thing I always wanted to do since I was a kid is float in the Dead Sea, and I did that too.
I saw that photo. That was a great photo.
We couldn't stop giggling. It was because your butt goes up.
Did you take a newspaper or anything or read anything for the photo? For another one?
Are you supposed to read a newspaper in the Dead Sea?
Some people do that.
I didn't think of that.
I had a Playboy magazine. I'm kidding.
Thank you, Johnny.
Take care.
Happy birthday to Dad. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Johnny Jet was talking about Dark Sky, which is my favorite weather app anyway. Love Dark Sky. And they have this time machine. I always go forward because I'm using the time machine to say, oh, what's the weather going to be like in New York City when we go visit or whatever, right, to find out, so what to pack. But it goes backwards, too, and you can go back to your birthday, and it turns out I was born 22,997 days ago. But the most important detail there is that on Tuesday, it'll be my 23K day. I forget birthdays. I'm going to celebrate my 23,000th day. Isn't that a more interesting number? Plus, it takes people a while to figure out how old you are. Gee, is that old? I don't know. Sounds like it's old. Could be old. I don't know. Do the math. 8888 Ask Leo. Back to the phones we go. Gary is on the line from I always get this wrong, Gary. Cheektowaga.
Oh, yeah. I think that's why Rich rejected my call. He didn't want to say.
He didn't want to say Cheektowaga. I guarantee you.
But I actually had a different question when I called him for, because I think the question I called him for is something that's developing and is a problem with Microsoft's updates. But here's the
question. 1909. Ooh, watch out. Stand back. Yeah,
so I'm going to let that question go for a while and see if the internet.
Just to tell people, wait as long as you can, as always with these big updates. And this is that biannual feature update. And there have been problems. I've read a number of problems. So don't do it until you really have to. Defer it.
So the question I have today is I need to turn my T-Mobile modem off once in a while, because what happens is the speed slows down to below 20 every few days, and by turning it on and off, it goes back up. It goes up to like 107.
Is it a femtocell, one of those T-Mobile little mini cell towers that connects to your internet? What is it that you're?
No, it's a T-Mobile home internet.
Oh, it's their home internet. So it's a router.
Well, yeah, it's a.
And it's a single unit.
I have my own router.
Okay. So that was one question. So it's just the unit that connects to the internet, and then you have your own router.
Yep. And I've spoken to T-Mobile about it. Because it's a new system, they don't have any answer to it. They said just keep turning it off and turn it back on. And that works.
This is a very common problem. Very common problem with routers.
So I have lots of smart plugs. The problem is once you turn them off, you can't turn them back on. Once you turn the internet off, you can't turn the smart plug back on.
Oh, yeah, right. Because the way you talk to the smart plug, what you need is a Bluetooth smart plug.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for, a Bluetooth smart plug. I can't find one. I'm looking, just because I'm within a few feet of it, so I don't.
Yeah, it's fascinating because I hadn't thought about that. But of course, if you've switched off the internet, almost all of these use Wi-Fi. They're going to stop working.
Yeah, well, Samsung plug the Samsung plug will work with the Samsung SmartThings hub.
Yeah.
It will if you put it on a schedule, it will turn it back on with the schedule. You can't turn it back on with your phone, telling it to turn on. But say you say turn off at 5:30 a.m., turn back on at 5:35. It will do that. It will force the plug to come back on.
It's creating its own network. But to control it, you need to use Wi-Fi to get to the hub. But the hub itself has its own network. And that's true of a lot of Internet of Things devices, like your Hue lights. If they have their own hub, the lights are not using Wi-Fi. They're using their own protocol. But I think what you want is a Bluetooth. I think you're right. I think you want to switch this Bluetooth. The reason they don't make a lot of them, they do make them, by the way. GE makes one. The reason they don't make a lot of them is, as you know, Bluetooth has a 30-foot limit. So most people want to be able to do the lights or the garage door or the doorbell or whatever from anywhere in the house, and Bluetooth won't get you everywhere in the house. But for this particular application, I think that's brilliant. So General Electric makes a smart switch that's Bluetooth. It's called their GE Bluetooth Smart Switch. So that's probably what you want. Now I'm looking at the spec sheet for it, and it says it works with Echo, which means it probably also does Wi-Fi. So read the spec sheet to make sure you can. I've not used this, so I'm not sure, but make sure you can. Maybe it just configures via Bluetooth. Maybe that's why they use the name Bluetooth.
Yeah, because Alexa doesn't work either when those.
Yeah, right. No, Amazon's Echo uses Wi-Fi. But this is called the GE Bluetooth Smart. Controls from GE provide an easy to install and affordable system to control lighting and small appliances in your home. I think the idea is not everybody has Wi-Fi, right? What if you don't have Wi-Fi, but you want to have a smart home? Well, you could do it with Bluetooth. And now, of course, you're going to use your phone to control it because it's going to be Bluetooth paired to this switch. That's a good idea.
The Wi-Fi stays on. It's the route. It's the internet connection I lose. And
actually, that's a good point.
Smart plugs, to work these smart plugs, you have to go through the cloud.
They go through the cloud, don't they? Yeah.
Yeah, they don't work directly.
So you could even use a Wi-Fi-enabled IoT device as long as it didn't require cloud access.
That's right, and I can't find one of those either.
Yeah. That's it. That's an interesting conundrum. I'm going to ask our IoT people. We have an IoT show, new IoT show called Smart Tech Today with Micah Sargent and Matthew Castanelli. I'll ask them. I'll also ask Stacy Higginbotham, who does a newsletter at stacyoniot.com about IoT. They probably will know about a Bluetooth device. So let me ask my experts. But until then, this is one to look at anyway.
All right, thank you.
Hey, and by the way, I know a lot of people listening saying, "Yeah, my router does that too, or my modem does that too." Here's why my theory on this: these are consumer-grade computers, really cheap, right? So they have very cheap processors, very cheap memory. They also don't have fans. You don't want to have a thing going in the background. And they get very hot. And it's my opinion that what happens is they overheat. And it's related to how much traffic's going through them. When you turn it off, it cools off very quickly, and you can turn it back on again. So that's theory one. Theory two is a software problem. This would be fixable. There's a problem that's common in a lot of software. It's called a memory leak. As the software runs, it consumes more and more memory until it crashes. And this may also be the problem. So after a period of time, as more and more memory is eaten up, the thing just crashes and stops working. A reboot starts it over again, restarts the clock. If it's that case, then a firmware upgrade would fix it. So you should definitely look for a firmware upgrade. And
they sent me one.
Yeah, it didn't fix it.
Yeah. No, it didn't fix it. Is it possible to put like a heat sink? Maybe just put an ice pack on it.
Absolutely. Keeping it cool will help. Keeping it cool will help. Put a fan blowing on it.
Yeah.
See, this is a way to test it, right? If that helps, then you know what it is. And unfortunately, that is a problem you can't really, you can't fix with a software update, but you can take the case off. There may be things you can do. But remember, these are really inexpensive devices, no fans, no cooling, and they do overheat. If you put your hand on it, you'll feel it. It'll be hot.
And just to update you on it, that T-Mobile home internet I've been very pleased with.
How much do you pay? And what do you get?
$50, $50 flat.
And unlimited?
Unlimited, $50 flat, unlimited, and
wow,
I haven't had any issues with it. I still use YouTube TV. I know
what kind of that's good. What kind of speed are you getting? Do you know?
Well, when I test it, it's telling me I use that Oakley speed test. It's telling me I'm up at 100.
What?
Yeah, I'm
So
usually between 80 and 100. It's when it drops down when I have to turn it off and turn it back on.
This is going to be very location specific because you're obviously near a T-Mobile cell site.
Yeah, that's why I got selected to use it because they're only selecting certain. That's why I got. I think.
And for more than that, it's probably an underutilized cell site. So they know over time not a lot of people use it. Because remember, every cell site has a certain amount of bandwidth going to it, and everybody who's using it is sharing that. You're getting that kind of speed. You're probably the only person on that cell tower.
But I must be. I'm getting upload speeds at times over 50.
Nice.
And
That's fantastic.
I sent a bunch of pictures to Amazon the other day, and it went like no time.
That's nice. That's the future of internet, especially with 5G coming along. Hey, I appreciate the call and the review, the update. Thank you, Gary. The podcast today brought to you, in fact, really everything we do brought to you by CashFly, literally by CashFly. It's our content delivery network, our CDN. And I don't know if you remember in the early days of the podcasts, couldn't really people couldn't download from our server. They were killing the server. So I tried BitTorrent. It was just nuts. Fortunately, and this is now maybe 12 years ago, Matt Levine came along and said, Leo, let me help. Matt was the founder and CTO of CashFly. And we've been on CashFly ever since. And what a transformation. Now when you want a podcast, it comes in lickety-split. Everybody tells me this. It's the fastest download of any podcast because you're getting it from a server near you thanks to CashFly. If your website, if your product is tied to company revenue, if you need to give customers fast downloads like I do, you need CashFly. CashFly CDN delivers media-rich content up to 10 times faster than the traditional delivery methods, probably 1,000 times faster than BitTorrent. It's even 30% faster than other major CDNs. And because they have servers all over the world, they're backed by a 100% SLA that gives you the best experience for your customers, no matter where they are, no matter what device they're on, but also the best experience for you because you don't have to worry. You know your content's going to get delivered in a timely fashion without problems. You're never going to get that 3 a.m. call saying, the server's down, because it never goes down. It's CashFly. Thousands of companies trust CashFly's reliable network. LG, Microsoft, Adobe, Ars Technica, and of course, Twit. And I also love it because CashFly works with you to create a plan that is based on yearly usage. And that's a big deal for us because, as you might imagine, our downloads spike at certain times of the week. Twit comes out on a Sunday night and through the roof. And we don't want to have to be looking, are we going through our bandwidth cap? We don't worry about that. They look at your usage over a year period and smooth it out, and that's what you pay for, and it works really well. And by the way, you save up to 20% over other CDNs. I'll tell you what, you can find out how much CashFly could save you. If you go to twit.cashfly.com, they will look at your CDN usage, your current usage, and they will create a plan for you, and you can see for yourself. No hard sell, but just see for yourself how much you'll save. And trust me when I say you're going to be glad you did it. We really love CashFly. They've been bringing our content to you for more than a decade. We do petabytes a month, every month, through CashFly with never a hiccup. twit.cashfly.com. CAC, you've heard me say it. Bandwidth provided by CashFly. CACHEFLY.com. twit.cashfly.com. Thank you, CashFly. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smart watches, all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo is my phone number if you want to call and talk high-tech. Website, free to use, no sign-up, techguylabs.com. techguylabs.com. We even put audio and video from the show after the fact up there. So techguylabs.com, and that's free. So, take advantage of that. techguylabs.com. Let's go to line 2. Jonathan, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Hello, Jonathan.
Hey, Leo. I want to say, first of all, your vacations are well-earned and richly deserved.
Oh, I appreciate
it. Cut it out. It's enough. No.
I take 2 vacations a year. That's all.
It's too many for us.
Oh, you're very kind. Thank you. I take that in the spirit it's intended. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for that. Hey, I have a tip/suggestion for my fellow listeners.
Oh, good.
It's one I think you'll agree with.
Okay.
And it's meant for the holidays coming up especially. We all take a ton of photos and some videos, and I think people shouldn't ignore the simplicity of just audio. One of my favorite, most precious possessions is from when my daughter was little. It was her bedtime, and we were lying together in bed, and she was making up a story about her cousin, and I just pressed the voice memo on my iPhone, and she got the giggles and went into the story. And Leo, when I listen to that now, I'm instantly transported to that moment. And as you know, with audio, your mind fills in the pictures.
Isn't that sweet?
Yeah. So for the holidays, my suggestion to people is, because when you point a camera at somebody or something, they get
they clam up.
They freeze up. Right. Exactly. But if you're talking with especially an older relative or very young, just have your phone next to you. Use the voice memo, or I use Just Press Record on my iPhone.
I love Just Press Record.
Yeah. And just ask about their childhood, some old songs they used to sing or stories, that sort of thing.
What a great idea.
And you'll just get some magical stuff, or even just have it on, get some kitchen chatter, some chatter at the table, that sort of thing. And be sure to back it up, of course, which most of these will do automatically. But I
love this idea. You know, when I take pictures, I often will shoot no more than 6 seconds of video every once in a while so that I can mix that in. But you're right, audio. And you carry in your pocket, almost all of us carry a recording studio in our pocket.
It's a good one.
It's a good one. The sound quality is excellent. It's easy. It's unintrusive. In fact, I've done this on my Android phone. I have a little button that is the new Android recorder, which transcribes while it records, which is really nice. And it would be very easy just to tap that, no unobtrusive, put it on the table. Just they won't even know that you're doing it, although you probably, for privacy reasons, might want to mention it. But you're right, they're not going to clam up. And you mentioned Just Press Record, which is a wonderful iOS app that does the same thing and has a wristwatch version that you could put a little button on your Apple Watch and do the same thing. I think you're brilliant. And nowadays we have so much storage. We have the capability to do the recording, and digital lives forever. It's not like a cassette that you have to find somewhere to put and bring out the cassette player. You've got it.
And it's like a little time machine.
I love that
Your mind
idea.
will just take you to that moment. And then I'd like to get your advice on a project, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I really like Earth cams. You know, being able to watch Times Square or Pandas or whatever. And I'd like to do something maybe with a Raspberry Pi and an old monitor. Hang something on my wall, almost like a piece of art, and be able to have like a window almost of one of these things. And I thought maybe using an old iPad would be the easiest way, because that way I could, just touch and go to a different Earth cam. But I wanted to get your opinion.
You know, this reminds me of my favorite Apple TV screensaver. If you have an Apple TV, it's like, any of these other streaming devices like a Roku. You plug it into your TV. But if you don't turn the TV off, it will go into a screensaver mode. And Apple has, over time, added more and more of these. It's like an Earth cam. They have slow motion drone footage of Hawaii or the streets of Dubai. They have satellite pictures of the Earth from the space station. And it's all moving, but it's moving very slowly. It needs to move because it's a screensaver. And it gives you exactly that effect. So if you have an Apple TV, turn on their Earth screensaver. It's beautiful. If you have a PC or a Mac, there are open source versions that take the Apple footage and then make it a screensaver for your Windows or Macintosh machine. You can search. I'll put links in the show notes to those.
I agree, but I think there's something about live. If you could say, okay,
this is what. Yeah, that's true.
Right now.
Yeah, this is what's going on right now. I'll never forget. I won't say names, but a relative. We were looking at Google Maps, and she said, "Wow, is that what's going on right now?" And I had to say, "No, unfortunately, these are old satellite pictures. But wouldn't that be cool if you could use a satellite image of anywhere in the world in real time?" But these Earth cams, you kind of can. I think the project you can make as hard or as easy as you want. To my mind, the first thing I think of is a Raspberry Pi. So you would buy a TV set of any kind, but it needs to be one with an HDMI input, and you could make it as big or as little as you want, depending on your budget. The Raspberry Pi is a $35 computer, small computer, very inexpensive. It has an HDMI port on it, so it's easy to connect to a TV. And then would be a fairly simple process. In fact, you might not even have to do anything custom at all to put up a rotating slideshow of these shots. So
now you say a TV set. Would that be better than just a computer monitor that I can hang on the wall?
You could do it with a computer. Anything with an HDMI input. The reason I mentioned TV is actually TVs are lower quality than a monitor. You don't need the quality of a computer monitor on the wall, and you can get very inexpensive HD TVs that are lower quality than a computer monitor, but more than enough for what you want to do. So it really does depend on your budget. But I've seen people do this. They've glued a Raspberry Pi. One of my projects I never got around to, I wanted to make, remember in Harry Potter, the paintings come to life. They look like they're paintings, but every once in a while they wink at you or nod. I wanted to have a rogues gallery of our hosts on the wall in the studio and have all the hosts. Normally they do this in radio stations with still pictures, but use little Raspberry Pis to have slight video loops where the host is sitting there and every once in a while smiles or winks. I just think that would be so much fun. That's another project I've wanted to do. But all of this would be very simple with a Raspberry Pi. I think that's...
Well, let me ask you, with the Pi, how would I navigate to different...
what you're going to do is you're going to write a program or find a program that will do a slideshow. And really, it's just a browser. If you think about it, it's a web browser. So it would be a very simple thing to do, I think. And you're going to take some research, might take some simple coding on your part, to launch a browser and then have the browser slowly, one after the other, go to different Earth cams. You could give it a list. You could use a directory. The browser would display it. You can make these browsers display without any of the user interface feature. There's a Chrome, they call it, the buttons and things. So it's just a picture. And I think that would work pretty well. You might have to write a little small JavaScript code to do it, but I don't think it'd be complicated.
Okay, great.
It's a project.
Thank you, Leo, and happy early Thanksgiving. And everybody get out your phone audio recorders and get...
I love that idea for Thanksgiving. I love that idea. And thank you for the kind words, too. It's great to talk to you.
Thank you, Leo.
Take care.
Take care.
What a great idea. I use a journaling program called Day One. It's available on iOS and Android. A really great little journaling program, Day One. It has a record feature also built into it, because the idea is you're doing a diary. And so I find it hard to write, to sit down and write. But I have a little Day One button on my Apple Watch that I can press, and I could just do a little recording. I can say, here's my diary of today, and just record it into it. And Day One's nice. It synchronizes to Day One. It becomes a journal. So it's an audio journal. So that would be another way to do that. Day One is a really nice program. And just press record. That's another one. And I have to say, in the new Android 10, I really love the new recording feature that Google built in. It's called, what is it called? That's actually a good question. I don't know. I have it on my desktop. It's the new Google Recorder, and it will transcribe and does a very good job as you're recording. So I think that's pretty cool. And I just put a little button on my phone. So this would be an easy thing to do. A little word of warning: in some states, many states, it's illegal to record somebody without asking them first. Not that Grandma's going to sue you or anything, but it would just be polite to say, "Hey, Grandma, do you remember that song you used to sing when I was a baby? I would love to get that, record that. Could you just sing that song?" And she's going to say, "Oh, no, no, no." But meanwhile, you press the record, and eventually she'll sing the song. And I think you're right. I have a recording. It's a video recording. I had just gotten one of the first digital cameras. My son, who's 25 now, he was about, 5, 6, and had just started to read. And I thought, I'm going to use the video on this camera. And I said, "Henry, read to me." And it's the first time I ever had him read to me. And I have that recording, and that is gold. There's nothing more precious to me. So, yeah, make sure you back those up. Great idea. Thank you. I appreciate the call. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Take a little break. I should play that recording of my son. Let me see if I can find that. First time he ever read, he'll be embarrassed. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. We're on fire. I don't want to play it on radio because I think it'll embarrass my son, but I did find the video I took of him reading for the very first time, and it's pretty amazing to have that. So yeah, do that. That was a great tip. It's a reminder. I got to do that with. I did record my mom a couple of years ago. I sat her down. I said, "Tell me all these stories you've been telling me for the last 5 decades. Could you just tell me one more time?" She was glad to do it, and I got those. Gifford, Duarte, California. You're next. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Gifford.
Yes, Leo. Got a question for you.
Yes.
I've been watching you since Tech TV.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, I've got a Hackintosh that it's pretty much reached its end of life, and I want to convert to a new Mac, but I think I need a Drobo to fill in my storage space because the new Macs don't have any real storage.
Well, how much storage do you need?
I have like 6 terabytes of stuff.
Oh my God. Okay, so I got a better idea. Okay. So just to define some terms, Hackintosh is when somebody takes a Windows machine and manages to turn it into a Macintosh. This is not an approved process by any means. Apple doesn't make that possible. You have to buy Apple hardware. But it turns out there's a fairly good community of people doing that. It's a bit of a hobbyist thing, right? Or correct me if I'm wrong, Gifford, but you can't do updates. You got to be careful with your Hackintosh because it could easily get destroyed.
Yeah, it's limited on how far I can go because it was an old Windows machine,
right?
And I just got tired of all the crashing and stuff, and I.
If you want, my position's always been if you want a Mac, get a Mac, right? A Hackintosh is a fun project, but it's never going to be as reliable as that Windows machine was, or as a Mac would be. I understand people don't like to spend money on Macs because they are expensive. What is going on? You having a party over there?
Oh, I'm at a restaurant.
It sounds like fun. I want to go. So, how much storage do you need?
I've got about 6 terabytes of stuff.
All right. I think the best thing to do with this is to get a Mac. You're right. I mean, Apple's and all computers nowadays come with solid-state drives, which are more expensive per gigabyte than the old spinning hard drives, but they're much faster. The way to think of it is the internal drive on the Mac, whether it's an iMac or a laptop or a Mac Mini, that should be big enough to hold your operating system and your apps. I wouldn't get 128 gigs, but 512 gigs is probably fine. And then, because all the modern Macs have Thunderbolt ports, you can get an external drive that's as big as you need it to be. And you mentioned the Drobo. Drobos are okay. I wouldn't recommend a USB Drobo, though, because USB is probably a little too slow for this. You really want to either do USB 3.1, preferably even faster Thunderbolt, or the new USB 4 when that comes out next year, because you're going to... What is the day? Is it movies? What are you saving?
Video and audio. And
if you're playing back video from it, you need some speed. So if you just want to use it for archival storage, that's different. In fact, if it's archival storage you're looking for, I'd get a network-attached storage system. Those are those big units that have 4 or 5 drives in them. You get a lot of capacity. You put it in the closet. It's on the network. You're storing stuff there. It's not good for playing back necessarily because it's over the network. Actually, that's still probably fast enough. But it's not a local drive. It's a network drive. That might be another way to go.
I've got a MacBook and the other thing. I'm going to buy a Mac for. That's why I was looking at having a network storage.
That's what I would do. Get a Synology NAS. NAS. It's better off than a Drobo. Drobos are fine. I use actually a Drobo on my directly connected to my computer with USB 3 for my backup solution because it has a lot of capacity. But I think for something like this, maybe a NAS would be a better solution. And a Synology NAS is as good as it gets. I really like those Synology NASs. That's what I use.
Okay.
And if you are the videos like TV shows and movies that you would want to watch?
Yeah. And so a lot of them I'll throw into iTunes and watch it over Apple TV.
So the Synology has a media server software, iTunes, Windows Media Server. You can also run Plex on it. And that gives you the capability to use it as a media server anywhere in the house. That's another good reason to put it on the network. Then you don't have to play it just from the Mac. You can play it anywhere you want.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Synology. I think better than Drobo. Okay?
Okay. Yeah, I like the Drobos because it was pretty forgiving on the drives that you put in.
It is. You can mix and match, although modern NASs are more like that than they used to be. It used to be you had to all have the same drives. Yeah, Drobo's fine. Nothing wrong with Drobo. If that's what you got, I like I said, I'm using it. Leo Laporte, the tech guy, the car guy, coming up. Can't believe the Starbucks Christmas mugs are here. We hear that music. You know what that means? Now, people listening to the show on Saturdays don't probably know, but on Sunday, we're joined every Sunday by Sam Abuelsamid, who is a car guy, principal researcher at Navigant Research. He does a podcast called Wheel Bearings at wheelbearings.media, and he's my car guy. He helps me.
Hello, Leo.
Hello, Sam. How are you?
I'm doing very well today. I'm in Los Angeles where it's nice and warm, not like where it was earlier this week at home.
You live in the Motor City. Was it really cold in Detroit?
Yeah, we got blasted by 8 inches of snow on Monday. And then on Tuesday the temperature most of the day on Monday it was just below freezing, upper 20s, right around 30. But Monday night it got really cold, and Tuesday morning when I got up, my dog wanted to go for a walk, and I looked at the temperature, and it was 6 degrees outside, and I said, yeah, we'll wait till later, Daisy, when it warms up a little bit.
Well, I'm sorry about that. I'm glad you got to go to L.A., though.
Yeah, so I'm here for the L.A. Auto Show this week.
Oh, fun.
And festivities kind of kick off tomorrow night in Hawthorne, California, with the unveiling of an all-new electric vehicle from Ford. Which is called the Mustang Mach-E. And can't reveal any details until tomorrow night on that. But it's going to be they're going to be live streaming it for those that aren't here.
Well, I'll watch.
I dropped the link in the chat earlier, but it's going to be on Facebook and a couple of other places as well. So you'll be able to watch the reveal.
Nice. I'm an electric car fan. And normally we talk about high-tech stuff, but today, because of the temperatures, we're going to talk about something a little less high-tech. Tire pressure.
There is some tech to it.
Is there?
So yeah.
Really?
Tire pressures are really important because if your tire pressures aren't set right, in every car there's a sticker that's on the door jamb on the driver's side. So when you open your driver's side door, on the back there, you'll find a sticker that has recommended tire pressures for your car. And it's a good idea to check your tire pressures at least once a month or so. And you can go out, to pretty much anywhere, any auto parts store or any big box store, and you can get a little digital tire pressure gauge for usually $3 or $4. And it's good idea to get one of those for every one of your cars and just leave it in the glove box, keep it there so it's handy. And then just check your tire pressure once a month, make sure it's about where it should be, because if your tire pressures get too low or too high, it affects the handling of your car and the safety of your car, as well as the tire wear. If your tire pressures are too low, then and they're running a little flat, what happens is you get too much wear on the outer edges of your tire, and it also, when the pressure is too low, the tire itself, the rubber, the construction of the tire heats up, and you can end up causing a tire failure. And I don't know if you remember back in the early 2000s, there was a problem with the Ford Explorer. They kept having tire failures because they were running the tire pressures too low. And then if the pressure is too high, you'll wear out, the tire will round out, like you can imagine what that looks like. And the middle part of the tire tread will wear out too fast. And, again, you won't have as much grip as you should, so you won't be able to steer and stop as quickly as you could if your pressures are set properly.
Now you're scaring me. I have to run out and check my tire pressure. I haven't checked it in years.
You should be doing that anyway.
Like how often?
About once a month or so.
Okay. We do.
And,
most modern cars have sensors in them. Can you trust those sensors?
Yeah, absolutely. So all the cars built in the last 10 years or so have built-in tire pressure monitor sensors in the valve stem, so where you inflate it. And that's actually really handy, because you'll get an alert if your tire pressure starts to drop. So, if you've picked up a nail on the road or something that, and you've got a slow leak and your pressure starts to drop, it'll give you an alert in the instrument cluster, and hopefully you can pull over before it completely deflates and you can get that changed, so that you have safety there. But one of the other cool things is Nissan a couple of years ago launched a new feature in their cars that they call Easy Fill. So normally, if you're adding some air to your tires, you got to sit there, at the air pump and go back and forth between your pressure gauge and the air pump, and check it, put some air in, check it, and when you get to the right pressure, you stop. Well, with Nissan's Easy Fill feature, what it does is it actually uses that pressure sensor that's in the valve stem, and it's already pre-programmed. It knows what the correct tire pressure should be. So you just put the inflator on there and start filling. And as soon as it gets to the right pressure for your car, the horn will honk. And then you just take the inflator off and you're done. Really easy.
I love that.
And I wish other manufacturers would do the same thing, because it would make it so much nicer.
I now maybe I'm wrong, but I never trust the gauges on the air pressure on the tire pumps at the gas station. I don't feel like those are so good. So I carry one of those little pen inflation gauges. They have, there's the little pen type mechanical ones.
Those
are okay, right?
The little, or the digital ones that you can get as well. Those are a little easier to read. It's just got a little LCD display on it. Just stick it on there. It shows you what your pressure is.
The one at the gas station has been there since 1924. It's all worn down.
Yeah, and it's sitting outside.
You can't read the numbers and
the environment. And
so it's good to have your own. I carry it with me. Yeah.
And the reason why it's important right now is, in parts of the country where it's getting colder, when the outside temperature drops, your tire pressure is going to drop as well. So your tire pressure is related to temperature. So when it gets cold, like it was in Michigan this week, you want to probably check your pressures and go in, maybe add a little bit more pressure, a little more air to your tires to keep them at the right pressure. And then when it warms up, then you can let a little bit out if it hasn't dropped down already.
Do people ever use weird gas mixtures in their tires, like nitrogen tires?
Some people do. For normal driving, on the road, you don't need to do that. They do it. This is a practice that started in racing, because putting nitrogen in there, it's drier. You don't get as much moisture in it, and when you have humidity in the air that's in your tires, as it heats up, it changes the pressure more. And race cars are more sensitive to those pressure changes. So you don't need to do it on the road, but if you're going out racing, put nitrogen in your tires. But on the road, don't waste the $20 or $30 that a tire store is going to charge you to put in nitrogen in your tires.
I thought it was a joke, but somebody in the chat room said, "Oh no, I use nitrogen." All right, yeah, that's good. It still expands when it gets hot and contracts when it gets cold, right?
Well, and any air expands, but with nitrogen, you will get less, but the tires are designed to assume a certain amount of expansion. So, and when you do check your tire pressures, it's a good idea to do it when the car's been sitting and the tires are cold or ambient temperature. You don't want to do it, after you've just done, a 70 mile an hour blast on the highway.
I have to drive to the gas station to get the air, so it's going to be a little warm.
Yeah, but that's not going to make that much of a difference.
Okay.
Yeah, that's going to be fine. Right. And I mean, personally, I have a little air compressor in my garage that I use anyway. And you can buy air compressor. You can buy cheap tire inflators for $30 or $40, and I have a $100 compressor in my garage.
I am learning about nitrogen. Apparently, Costco and some tire shops will use nitrogen. They put a green valve stem on to let you know, and because it's a bigger molecule than air, it doesn't leak as much. And if you bought your tires at Costco, Greg in the chat room says they'll fill it with nitrogen free. Okay, so we are learning a lot about tires here on this show. Thank you, Sam. Sam's podcast, wheelbearings.media for the Wheel Bearings podcast. He's a principal researcher at Navigant, and I love talking to you. And I want to know all about that new car tomorrow. You'll have to fill me in. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Thanks, Sam.
All right.
It's a bigger molecule than air. Air is mostly nitrogen, so I don't know what that means.
Yeah, air is 78% nitrogen.
Air is
anyway.
mostly nitrogen, so they're basically just eliminating the oxygen. Hello, Dickie D.
How you doing, pal?
Great. Are you ready to do some discoing?
Yeah. You all set to go on your trip?
Yeah. I'm going on vacation. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. He's Dick DeBartolo, our disco man. He's also a gizmo wizard, Mad Magazine's maddest writer for many a year. And he joins us each week to bring us a crazy gizmo or gadget. But, I'm just thinking, something happened. I was gone for like almost a month.
Yes.
It went from being autumn to being Thanksgiving, and that means CES is just around the corner.
Yes. Last week was CES unveiled, and they think that we love hearing it's 45,000 exhibitors and 6,000 registered press.
We launched the Tech Guy Show in 2004 from CES. What used to, at that time, was still the Consumer Electronics Show. Now it's the show formerly known as the Consumer Electronics Show. They just want you to call it CES. I haven't been in many a year. I'm going back this January. So I hope I'll see you. Yeah.
Oh, this is, I think, my 30th.
Wow.
So, yeah, I know.
And it is the biggest show of the year for consumer electronics, for auto electronics. There's a lot of Sam's going to be there. You're going to be there. Yes. So we're going to do some coverage of it. I think what we're going to do, Ant Pruitt, one of our hosts on the podcast network, and I are going to go down there. We're calling it Ant and Leo's Excellent CES Adventure.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. And we're just going to run around. I hope we can catch up with you, and you can show us the junk in the basement at the Sands there.
I'm sure we'll cross paths.
I bet we will. What do you got for us today?
All right. So there was a PepCom event called Health and Fitness, and I'm walking in and I see Black Plus Decker, as they're currently known.
You don't call it Black and anymore? It's Black Plus?
It's Black Plus. And I said,
please,
what are you guys doing here? And I don't see any tools on the table. And he said, well, you probably don't know that Black Plus Decker has a medical commercial division.
Oh.
And now we are creating a device called Priya for the home person, especially elderly people who want to stay home and caregivers or family members who want to take care of them. So this is kind of an automated device to give them their pills at the proper time.
Oh, they're jumping on the bandwagon, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's Wi-Fi enabled, and if they also have a smartphone, it'll ring, the device will ring, the phone will ring, and the thing will move around, put the proper amount of pills.
It's got eyes and a mouth.
Because, Leo, when the person walks up to it, it recognizes the person and says, oh, okay, you can have pills. We have pills for you.
It knows you.
It knows you.
So if it's a husband and wife, it would only give the right medication to the right person.
Exactly.
Oh.
Exactly. And also, they've already figured into it people that are afraid they don't want their picture on the web. You can enable it that it just takes a 4-number PIN code.
Oh, okay.
But it's easier for the person's recognition. And also, it's instant. They don't use Skype. They use their own system. But it's instant if the grandmother wants to talk to one of the caregivers at work. She just walks up to this device and say, I want to talk to Michael. Or I think you can put 6 people into it. I want to talk to Leo. I want to talk to Lisa. And
this is a good idea.
Yeah. Well, it's wildly expensive.
Oh.
Okay.
Are they hoping insurance will pay for it or something? Or?
Yes. They did say that it can come out of, when you put money aside and it's tax-free if you buy something medical, it qualifies for that.
Okay.
It's $599, almost $600.
Yeah.
And $999 a month.
It's not, I wouldn't say wildly expensive. It's pricey, but I could see a kid with an older parent. My mom's 83 now, and I could see, if I'm not around and I want to make sure she's taking her meds, that this would be a reasonable thing to put in there.
And it can also, you can also tell it that you want hints to go, when the medicine comes out, you can have the device say, please take this with a glass of water, or please don't eat something before you, anyway, whatever.
So it has a voice.
It has a voice.
What does it sound like?
You know what? They were not demonstrating it at the show. I don't know. It should
sound like Nurse Ratched. Take your pills. Take them now.
Call Al. You haven't talked to him in 24 hours.
No, that's what my mom will give me. Call your mom. You haven't talked to mom. That's interesting.
Right.
They're going to run up against some headwinds, though, because both Google, Facebook, and others are probably doing something similar down the road, right?
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet.
Yeah.
And since it just came out, they're doing $600, and the first 6 months of service is free.
That's not terrible.
No.
okpria.com, or probably better, just go to Dick's website, gizwiz.biz. Click the GizWiz Visits the Tech Guy button, and you can see all about it. You can even see Dick's video, high-quality video that he shot at the event.
Before he took his pills.
Actually, Dennis is your photographer, right? He's got a steadier hand than you do.
Exactly.
This is really interesting. I think this is going to be a wave of products designed for the boomers, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely.
They should name it, okay, boomer, take your pills.
Especially since people want to stay in their own home. And this is a way to keep in touch with them and them to stay in touch with you.
Absolutely. And it's unfortunate, but nowadays, my mom lives in Rhode Island. She's far away, and we're all spread out these days, and I can't go over there and say, Mom, take your pills. So it'd be nice to have a robot to do it.
Yeah. Yes. Nothing says love than a robot.
Robot pill administrator. Are the pills in the Priya body? Does it pop out of its mouth?
No, it drops down into a little cup.
It has a little hopper.
Yeah, right. You drop them in the top, and it puts them in the bins they belong in. It can hold 28 different doses.
I'm just saying, version 2, it should stick out its tongue, and there should be a pill on it. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Make it more human.
Oh, that's good.
While you're at gizwiz.biz, Dick's website, don't forget to play the What the Heck Is It contest. Did you conclude a contest a couple of weeks ago?
Let's see. I think you were here, weren't you? When did you go? Oh, yeah. It ended the end of October.
Yeah, Halloween. I was on a boat.
You were on the road.
I was on a boat. So you got a new one. Let me look and see if I can figure this one out. The last one, it was pretty obviously a lawn steak of some kind, right?
Oh, that was the one before that.
Oh, never mind. Oh, it was the censored paparazzi glasses.
That's what it was.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. So this time it's something else, a close-up picture of a gizmo or gadget of some kind. If you can identify it, you're in the running for one of 6 autographed copies of Mad Magazine. But don't worry, even if you get it wrong, there are 12 Mad Magazines for the cute, silly answer, the best cute, silly answer. And it's gizwiz.biz. You have till the end of the year for this one.
Yes, sir.
What could that be? What could that be? Thank you, Dickie D.
Okay, buddy. See you next week. Welcome back.
Thank you. And we're going to get ready for CES. You're going to help me get ready, right?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah.
We'll hook up and we'll do things.
It'll be fun. I'll wear comfortable shoes. Thank you, Dickie D. Well, that does it for me today, right, Laura? Am I right? Is my timing off? This is the last hour. Thank you to Lady Laura, our musical director. Great job. Thank you also to Kim Schaffer, our phone angel, taking all the calls. Most importantly, though, thanks to you for listening. It's great to be back. Thanks to Rich DeMuro for filling in for the last couple of weekends. But I'm back, baby, and I will be back for the foreseeable future. So I'll see you next time. In the meantime, have a great geek week. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget TWIT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.